Welcome to the PHNX Daily Bet Show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download today using code PHNX and receive $200 in free bets when you place $1 or more on any football game this week. Woo-hoo-hoo! Johnny, I'm joined by you as always. What was last night? I feel like I'm hungover from that Thursday night football game.
Yeah, I have a migraine from watching two inept quarterbacks play football for 3.5 hours. But I mean, it was entertaining. My bets didn't land. My promise of the Giants still being terrible today rings true. They just did it in a different way. For having a special teams head coach, they botched the last second field goal, and that was hilarious.
There was that picture that was going around as always after the Giants lose a crushing game of Odell and that squad from I think 2015 on the boat.
The yacht party.
Yeah, the yacht party, and they have the worst record in the NFL since that picture. It's pretty incredible.
It's so
great. Our bets weren't the best last night. My over on Danny Dimes' rushing yards hit on the first drive though, so it started off well. I thought it was going to be a pretty electric night.
I'm done picking unders, man.
Yeah, I know it hurts, especially 40.5 or 41, whenever you got it at. It was bold, but the DVOA just sucked me in. It just sucked me in.
Yeah, man. In today's NFL, it's too tailored for teams, even with bad quarterbacks, to score. And I think we might have overrated Washington's defense, especially their back seven a little bit. So, I mean, Danny Dimes, I think, played one of his better games as a pro, still lost, still, marginal effort when you compare it to, draft mate Kyler Murray. But I can't stomach unders anymore. I'm fully on the over squad here on out. Indefinitely will not see me pick another under.
Week 1 was the second most time Danny Dimes has had to throw in the pocket. And even with their guard going down early, their captain of that matter, he after he went down, they still held up against the talented front seven. They are talented. There's no overstatement there. And they protected him well. So I was kind of impressed by the O-line, but man, that was the most NFC East football game I've watched in a really long time. Ricky Seals-Jones scored. He was like plus 8,000 to be the next touchdown.
Did not think he was still in the league.
I know. Isn't he like only 26? He's a young guy still, right?
Yeah, but he was supposed to be like the next big thing at tight end for the Cardinals after a promising finish 2 years ago, and then kind of just faded away. I just assumed maybe he was like selling insurance somewhere.
I feel like you'd be really good at selling insurance, Johnny.
Oh, I prefer to gamble instead.
You have this. You have this way.
Advice?
You have this way with your words. You'd be able to make me buy something I didn't actually. You should start selling timeshares. I think you'd be good at that.
Well, I don't know if that's the best thing to say on air. I convince people to do things they otherwise wouldn't, because I would like for people to think of my predictions and my bets were locks. So when I tell you not to bet on the over, that you do it thinking that I know what I'm talking about, not just because I'm a good bullshitter. But I'll take it as a compliment.
Fade Johnny. All right, let's get into this Sunday slate. I'll go first with my picks. So throw them up there. These are my favorites for the week. I love the Bills. Minus 3.5. They're gonna have their revenge game. I think the Steelers defense is just still really good, and they just got the better of them. But I mean, this Bills team, Josh Allen's still Josh Allen. Him and Stephon Diggs are best friends. So yeah, I like them a lot in that game. And then going over to the Chiefs, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and the Ravens looked like Lamar Jackson taking a locker room break. They didn't look great. And I believe it is it's in Baltimore. So they have that. And I think that's where the 3 points come from, but I don't think the home field advantage is enough for them to win that game. And then I like the Saints minus 3 as well. I think the Saints, that was not a fluke game against Aaron Rodgers, and they're in Carolina. So yeah, I like all three of those a lot. But the Saints specifically, I think they have something to prove. I think that Marshawn Lattimore and that entire secondary has just been flying around for a while now, and I think they've kind of gotten it together. And I love Jameis Winston. I love him so much, guys. I love him so much.
We're gonna see if he's
no good reason.
if he's
Yeah.
for real over 17 games, and he can't have a better play caller than Sean Payton, who
Hmm.
went 6-0 with Teddy Bridgewater a couple of years ago. I really like your Chiefs Ravens pick. I've got a little bit of a preamble to that in my prop bets later on in the show that we're going to talk about. But Ravens coming off a short week, a devastating loss on Monday Night Football where they thought they had it won numerous
Hmm.
times against really a Chief team that didn't really play a complete game and still beat Cleveland. So
Yeah.
we predicted Baltimore would regress this year, and they're right on their way to doing that.
That meme was floating around again of Patrick Mahomes in the pocket, like leaning back, throwing it, getting sacked, and the caption's like "Fuck it, Tyreek down there somewhere."
Yeah,
It's just so true. I like.
they're the new.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go. You
No, they're
go.
the new version. I've heard this a couple times. I'm going to steal it. They're the new version of the '90s Dallas Cowboy triplets
Hmm.
with Michael Irvin and Emmett Smith and Troy Aikman, but
Yeah.
Kelsey and Tyreek and Patrick Mahomes are all going to the Hall of Fame. They're all
Yeah.
going to be considered some of the best ever to do it, and I just think we're seeing that maturation process now.
Definitely. The Bills are at the Dolphins. I forgot to mention that. So, yeah, I like that -3.5. Johnny, give me your picks. What do you like for
Ooh,
this week?
man, there are two that I wouldn't mind dabbling in. I like Tennessee plus 6.5 at Seattle. I know that everybody right now, everybody and their mother is bailing off of the Titans based on what my Arizona
Hmm.
Cardinals did to them last week. What I would say is pump the brakes. I would love to see the Titans win outright, but I think at the very least we're going to see Derrick Henry reestablish himself
Yeah.
against the Seattle team that's pretty marginal at home over the past couple of years. That 12th man hasn't been nearly as prevalent. I think we're going to see Julio Jones get loose. I think it's going to be a tight game. I could see it going either way with a last minute field goal, but I don't think Seattle's blowing them out. You get hit in the mouth like they did against Arizona last week, and you come back ready to respond. And then I love Dallas plus 3.5. I love Dallas money line this week plus 160 against a Charger team that barely eked out a win against a Washington team that we saw last night isn't great. Dallas played Tampa incredibly well. They've
Yeah.
had 10 days to prepare. I like them supremely more offensively. I think the Chargers are fine defensively, but a little bit overrated. I think Dallas wins that game outright. That's almost my lock of the week, but not
Yeah.
quite.
Yeah, the Titans pick I really like a lot because we saw a lot of the passing game for the Titans struggle against the Cardinals, and I think it was obviously the pressure with 5 sacks from Chandler Jones,
Yeah.
but also their secondary played out of their minds, and people forget that Seattle, or they don't forget, it's pretty obvious that Seattle's has had secondary problems for a long time. I think
Yeah.
they fixed their pass rush a little bit, but Tannehill is a big guy, and I think we're gonna see the real duo of Julio Jones and AJ Brown against the Seattle defense. I think they're gonna be open a lot, and I think they're gonna pass for like 400 somewhere. It's gonna remind me of the Bills game from last year in Buffalo against Seattle when Josh Allen, they won like 38 to, they're like 42 to something, 28 or something.
Yeah.
They scored, they passed for like 500 something yards. And I think it's going to kind of be similar to that game. The Seattle defense is probably going to get exposed. I don't
Yeah.
mind the Titans money line, a little sprinkle on that.
Yeah. And if you want to sprinkle some money on the Titans money line, of course you can do that on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top rated sportsbook. And again, I believe this is the last weekend when you bet $1 on any football game, college or pros withstanding, you get $200 in free
Mm-hmm.
bets right away, right now. Take advantage as we go into this weekend's slate of games, both Saturday and Sunday. Remember, plus 21, Arizona only gambling problem. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEPS. Eligibility restrictions apply. Max waiver $50, one per customer, so you can't double dip. See DraftKings.com Sportsbook for more details.
Yeah. Speaking of DraftKings, those live lines and live props, mostly the live props they have on that app are so plentiful, and that's the biggest thing about the DraftKings app for
Yeah.
me. The reason why I like it so much is everybody has live props, but it's hard to bet on a game when like plays are going on and there's barely any dead balls, and
Yeah.
DraftKings is so quick. A lot of these apps are super laggy, and so it makes it easier to be a degenerate and bet live on games.
It's great because the transfer process, and I'm
Mhm.
not plugging the app just because we have to. I mean, we have to, but I want to.
Yeah.
plug the transition from, okay, I make money, I want to withdraw it immediately, I can, and then I can do an instant transfer and it hits my bank account, and then my wife can then take it and do what she wants with it. And I don't see a dime of it, but it will happen same day for a lot of platforms like PayPal and otherwise. So if you've got hesitation, if you use some of these other apps before and it's like, oh, it takes 7 to 10 days, not this app.
Johnny, do you have a piggy bank?
My daughter does. It's the ham piggy bank from Toy Story.
Does it make noises?
I steal singles from it when I need it. I also steal when we have to tip or we have to represent the Tooth Fairy. Those are the 2 times. When the Pizza Hut guy comes to the door and I don't mobile tip, I have to give him a 5 or whatever. And then when the Tooth Fairy comes to
well, I appreciate your vulnerability on the internet
it
right
all
now,
evens
Johnny.
out. That's what I tell my wife. We go to the store, we buy them stuff. It all evens out.
Yeah, they
I'm gonna pay for their college one day. All right, let's do some props.
What,
We have a quick question from the chat.
what's the question?
How many legs is a good number for a parlay?
Oh my God. So this is one of my buddies. He sent me a screenshot on the DraftKings Sportsbook app of 15 leg parlay of or 16. It was like the entire NFL slate. And I was like, dude, just Venmo me $5 at that point. And so he did. So I created one as well. Well, give me something with better odds of happening than that, Johnny.
Well, I usually say, how many legs does a table have? 4. That's my go-to for a parlay. Or an animal, right? I don't know animals that have 3 legs. So I typically say if you can get a parlay to 4 legs.
Is there an animal that has 3 legs?
For different reasons, you're in good shape.
Dude, why isn't there an animal that has 3 legs?
The champion from Parks and Rec who had 3 legs, and then you can roll with it.
But like a anatomically correct animal, why isn't there an animal that has 3 legs?
You could argue a kangaroo's tail.
This show's off the rails. We need
okay, all right.
Steer the ship back on.
before we get into our props, I just want to shout out the website and what you and all of our other writers are doing on it right now. It's at gophnx.com. We got some new merch dropping soon. Check out that merch at phnxlocker.com. And if you get an annual subscription of $60, it's only $60. You get a free t-shirt. If not, you can try the first month for just 50 cents. Become part of the community, become part of the Discord, and get all this exclusive access to all of the content behind the paywall. There's some really sweet stuff out there. We're going to be making some video content here soon, strictly for members only. So I'm really excited about that.
Check it out. Just wrote an article this morning. Larry Fitzgerald, the 2004 draft class, and the Minnesota Viking cards game to end 2003 that shaped the history of the franchise. Check it out now.
Sounds interesting. All right, let's go to our props for this weekend. Johnny, why don't you kick us off?
Let's go. Jonathan Taylor over under 60.5 rushing yards. I'm staying over at minus 120. See, the defensive front for the LA Rams, you can run on it. David Montgomery did that for over 100 yards last week for a bad Bears team. Indy's coming off a game where they were embarrassed by Seattle. I think that is a mortal lock to hit. And then Travis Kelce, anytime TD. If you want to parlay these 2 nuggets together, minus 150. He had 2 TDs last week. He's going against a Raven defense that gave up 100 yards and a touchdown to Darren Waller. Guarantee both these props hit for you this weekend.
Johnny, can I just tell you how much I enjoy when you say nuggets? I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the inflection of how it rolls off the tongue.
Because I'm always thinking about Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's just, I just love it. I just love tasty nuggets. It just makes me, it gets me all hot and bothered, you know?
Maybe one day Chick-fil-A will sponsor this and I'll eat Chick-fil-A nuggets on air.
I was kind of upset when you sent me that prop of Jonathan Taylor over 60 yards this morning because I thought I was going to be really smart and come in here and be like, yeah, well, the Rams defense lets you run on them. That's their idea, but you just said it. So,
great minds.
So let's go to my props. So I love Jalen Hurts this year, a lot. I think that it is getting his chance, and I think the Eagles are going to win more than 9 games this year. Call me crazy, but I really do like his chance of over 236 passing yards at minus 113 or minus 114. Specifically, one second. Specifically because the Niners are injured. This game is in Philly. The Niners are injured. They just lost Jason Verrett, and I think they're going to have the ball a lot because their defense isn't great. And I like Jalen Hurts a lot. My second one is under 86 rushing yards for Derrick Henry. As we said, they play Seattle, and Seattle's run defense looked legit against the Colts. And Derrick Henry, the faith might be lost in that offensive line. Derrick Henry is still a great running back, top 3 in the league by far, probably the purest runner we've seen in a while. But yeah, I don't think he's going to get to 86. What do you think about that, Johnny?
Love both of those. I really especially love the Jalen Hurts pick against the Niner defense that I think is going to be primed for an embarrassing showing this week. They've lost a ton of key pieces. Jason Verrett, a couple defensive linebackers are out. I think they're big time overrated defensively. I don't think Jimmy G is going into Philadelphia and winning this weekend.
No, definitely not. All right. This is the real deal. This is what people can come flame us on Twitter for. Give us the locks, lock it up. What do we got, Johnny? Let's hit your jackpot first. What's the Johnny jackpot for the weekend?
Johnny jackpot for this week. Patriots -5. I'm going to be honest with you. Since we did this graphic, it's gone up to -6. Take it anyway on DraftKings. PHNX. They play a Jets team that is still the Jets. The Jets last week, I think, played over their skis against Carolina. Bill Belichick's not going to lose 2 weeks in a row to AFC East opponents. I think they embarrassed the Jets at the Jets. Mac Jones has a profound showing against Zach Wilson. Easy money. I think it's a double-digit victory for New England.
Love it. Love it. All right, let's head into the Dieffenbach. Here it comes, baby. Cowboys +3.5. Johnny, you mentioned it earlier. You said it was almost one of your locks. I love this so much. The Chargers are fraudulent. The passing game of this Cowboys team is just so electric. They didn't need Zeke to put up points in that first game against the Bucs. They just stopped running, basically, and it almost worked out. I really like what Dak looks like this year. I was a little concerned about the shoulder and the throwing stuff when they had to bring the pitching coach in. But another reason for this is one of my friends. I have 2 friends. One's a Chargers fan and one's a Cowboys fan. One of them God really dislikes and one of them God really likes. I don't know what he did, but he Spencer, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I don't know what you did to whatever's up there, but it hates you and it hates the Chargers. And for some reason, God loves Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. So give me that all day. +3.5. Cowboys are covering. I might sprinkle some money on the money line, but that's my Dieffenbach, baby.
Love it. I'm not a religious man, but I will have a come to Jesus moment with our fan base that tells them you should daily check out PHNX daily bets every day. And also tonight, quick plug, PHNX Cardinals Live podcast with myself, the very talented Kirsten Susel, and of course, former Cardinal great receiver Frank Sanders.
Johnny, what the hell was that? Oh, all right. We'll just call it there, huh? How's that sound? Before we upset anything else, before anything else starts coming down, it's getting cloudy outside, Johnny. It might start raining
I'm
here
struck
soon.
by lightning. It's been a good run.
All right, guys. Well, we got a really good slate of shows here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. We got the Coyotes coming up at 1. We got a really fun Sun show at 2. I'm here for a nice tropical themed Friday. ASU at 3:30 for no reason at all. I don't know. Brittany's idea. It's going to be a weird episode, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of today's slate. And then later tonight, we have your Cardinals. So yeah, come join us for those shows. And Johnny, anything else to add?
See you next week.
Cool.
Come with your
Later,
winnings.
guys.